Greetings, unsettled souls. Welcome to the Correct Views, a semi-me the Gangi doing political commentary for the media speaks. All right, guys, I already did a Halloween show, but I couldn't resist just adding a little bit more on Halloween night. If you haven't seen the Halloween show, whatever you do, please make sure you do go and look it up. I think it was done on it's a couple days ago. I can look it up, but make sure you click on it real quick. Watch it, you'll love it. It was done on the 26th. One of the best Halloween shows that I've ever done. So make sure you look at that. We're going on with the 12 Days of Trump. Many of you know that I do work in a haunted house, the Legend of Bear Creek. Your last chance to come out and see it actually is tomorrow. Behind me, a pumpkin with a shoe in its mouth. It bit off a leg. Kind of like biting off more than you can chew, like running for president when you should be in prison. Yes, that's right. We're getting a massive update here on Mrs. Clinton. This is from the Wall Street Journal. 12 Days of Trump. Today we're talking about 65,000 reasons not to vote for Hillary Clinton, because that is how many emails. So, look at this. The laptop may contain thousands of messages sent to or from Mrs. Clinton's private server. And keep in mind, this is the kind of thing that matters, and I'll tell you why. Because you got to remember that it was Bill Clinton who allowed Chinagate to happen. And China became a nuclear armed nation able to seriously hurt the United States in many ways because of the lack of security that her husband showed. So what are we seeing now? We're seeing they've learned, the entire Clinton crime family, as it were, has learned nothing from Chinagate. They're no more responsible now than they were before. The surprise disclosure that agents of the FBI are taking a new look at Hillary Clinton's email use lays bare, just days before the election, tensions inside the Bureau and the Justice Department over how to investigate the Democratic presidential nominee. Well, let me ask you a question. How do you think they treat you and I if we did something like that? How about the generals who have done far less, five-star generals who are going to prison for errors when this was something done repeatedly with foreknowledge? Listen to this. Read this here. There it is. Screen share if you think I'm lying. Investigators found 650,000 emails. I said 65,000. 650,000 emails on a laptop that they believe was used by former Representative Anthony Weiner and his estranged wife, Uma Abedin, a close Clinton aide, lesbian lover. And underlying metadata suggests thousands of those messages could have been sent to or from a private server that Mrs. Clinton used while she was Secretary of State, according to people familiar with the matter. It will take weeks at a minimum to determine whether those messages are work-related from the time that Mrs. Abedin served with Miss Clinton at the State Department. How many are duplicates of emails already reviewed by the FBI, and whether they include either classified information or important new evidence into the Clinton email probe. Now, right away, you're going to have all the Clinton bots, along with Mrs. Clinton herself, saying that this is something of a vast right-wing conspiracy. It is not a conspiracy. In an election year, you break out what you need to break out to win. But here's what you're not realizing. This isn't something like Puttygate, as I'm calling it, with Donald Trump. That means absolutely nothing. He hit on a girl that shot him down. Who cares? Really, who cares? This is something that matters, people. This is matters of national security. That she put who knows who at risk. Agents, whole sections of the citizenry, probably. Officials had to wait for a court order to begin reviewing the emails, which they received over the weekend, according to a person familiar with the matter, because they were uncovered in unrelated probe from Mr. Weiner. The new investigative effort, disclosed by the FBI Director James Comey on Friday, shows a bureau at times in sharp internal disagreement over matters related to the Clintons and how to handle these matters fairly and carefully in the middle of the national election campaign. In other words, what can we do to make sure we don't rock the boat? Not what can we do to get the most justice. But it looks like outcry is making this happen. And make no doubt about it, friends, if it wasn't for all of us who have been saying forever, buying the lock her up t-shirts, buying the Clinton for prison t-shirts, Hillary for prison t-shirts, we would never, the FBI would have left her get away with this. I believe that wholeheartedly. And we have created such a noise that it's not happening. Even as the probe, it says, of Mrs. Clinton's email use would down in July, internal disagreements within the Bureau and the Justice Department surrounding the Clintons' family philanthropy heated up, according to people familiar with the matter. The latest development began in early October when New York-based FBI officials notified Andrew McCabe, the Bureau's second in command, that while investigating Mr. Weiner, looking at Weiner's Weiner, putting the good name of Weiner through the mud, was possibly sending sexually charged messages to a teenage minor. They had recovered a laptop. As many as 650,000 emails on the computer, they said, were from the accounts of Miss Abedin, according to those familiar with the matter. Now, as for Mr. Weiner, it's kind of a joke there because my brother's nickname was Weiner. He always says he's dragging the good name of Weiner through the mud. I'll tell you this. I was all for leaving Mr. Weiner alone. It's very obvious that Abedin is a lesbian, as is Clinton. And they got married and have had a family pretty much to hide the fact that they're a lesbian because it used to be a really big deal. Well, now it's encouraged. But the problem is this now. I didn't care what he was doing outside because let's face it, every man has needs. Maybe that's not good to say, but almost every person has sexual needs. So I didn't care what he was doing because he was covering for a lesbian in office. I don't have a problem with that. But this is showing that Mr. Weiner here quite likely knew that the girl was underage and they were going through rape fantasies together. That's not good. Those emails stretched back years, these people said, and were on a laptop that hadn't previously come up in the Clinton email probe. Miss Abedin said in late August that the couple were separated. The FBI had searched the computer while looking for child pornography. Way to go, Mr. Weiner. People familiar with the matter said, but the warrant they used didn't give them the authority to search for matters related to Mrs. Clinton's email arrangement at the State Department. Mr. Weiner has denied sending explicit or indecent messages to the minor. In their initial review of the laptop, the metadata showed many messages, apparently in the thousands, that were either sent to or from the private email server at Mrs. Clinton's home and had been the focus of so much investigative effort by the FBI. So they have found numerous, as in 650,000 instances, I'll have to change the name of this, where they lied. Right there where the lie was. New details showed the senior law enforcement officials repeatedly voiced skepticism of the strength of the evidence in the Bureau to investigate the Clinton Foundation. Again, proving that you and I and Joe Listener were the reason that this is currently happening, the reason that this is coming down on Clinton the way it would you and I. Some investigators grew frustrated, viewing the FBI leadership as uninterested in probing the charity to which a lot of the corruption has gone through. The Wall Street Journal reported last week that Mr. McCabe's wife, Jill McCabe, received $467,500 in campaign funds in late 2015 from the Political Action Committee of Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe, a longtime ally of the Clintons, and until he was elected governor in November 2013, a Clinton Foundation member. Well, Mr. McAuliffe had supported Mr. McCabe in the hopes that she and a handful of other Democrats might win a majority in the state Senate. Dr. McCabe lost her race last November, and Democrats failed to win the majority. And a spokesman for the governor has said that any insinuation that his support was tied to anything other than the desire to elect a candidate who would help pass his agenda is ridiculous. So all of these people are coming out of the woodwork now that has been hidden by Clinton over and over and over again. It says the Justice Department official was very pissed off, according to one person close to Mr. McCabe, and pressed him to explain why the FBI was still chasing a matter the department considered dormant. I could give you a reason. How about 650,000 reasons? How about that? Does that work for you? Because that's what we found. Let me tell you what, friends. You're being asked to not vote for Donald Trump because he used foul language 11 years ago. It doesn't matter if you think what he said about the actress was disgusting. He didn't hurt her. He didn't slander her. He was speaking with his friends about how she shot him down. You're going to compare that to what I just told you? 650,000 emails. Lied, kept away. She knew she was sending them. She was asked about it. And she knows there was a lot of personal data on there. Some people would even argue that it's possible she knew child porn was on there, although I'm not going to slander her and say she did, but that's going to be one of the things that some people are going to wonder about. But you can factor that out, to be fair. Let me say this. There is no way, not even on Halloween night, that you could possibly be warped enough to go ahead and vote for Hillary Clinton in light of what I have just showed you. And we're only 5 days into the 12 days of Trump. Christelle, if you're up here, put the light on so they can get a good look at my pumpkin, because I'm going to sign off for the night, friends. Tell you what, though, if you want to go ahead and donate to the show, you can do that at thecorrectviews@hotmail.com. Donate through PayPal. Every penny that you give to me goes towards a better show, friends. Thank you so much for listening to The Correct Views. And remember, there is more days of Trump ahead. And they won't be Halloween themed. Although I will be in makeup tomorrow because it's the last day at the haunted house. Good night, friends. God bless.